Is love a source of enjoyment or possession? Popularity isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about Alexa. And she has, again, another two big reasons why she is the best epic esper, in my opinion. Like, she is one of my favorites so far, even until now, because she has a buff that is very much important in almost every single game, especially when the number is right and nobody else have them. So she is the only esper that can reflect damage back to the attacker. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the future there's gonna be a legendary esper that can do exactly the same thing as Alexa, because this skill is pretty much very OP. And if they in the future put this skill on a legendary esper, do keep in mind and remember that you must have that esper, because the ability to reflect damage is the best kind of mitigation, because not only it prevents your esper to die, it also kills the attacker back. Like it doesn't work as in sharing kind of damage. Like there are two kinds of reflect damage back. Like if you get hit by 1,000 damage and you reflect back like 50% of that damage, there are two ways of this thing. There are two things that can happen in every single RPG games. It either you still take 1,000 damage, and then the enemy will get 50% of that, and so the attacker gets 500 damage, or you gonna split it half and half. You're gonna take 500, and the enemy gonna take 500. You know, so the second one is the best kind of mitigation. If your game do the second type of reflect damage, then do keep in mind that reflecting damage back to the attacker is the most OP thing ever. Because if you can raise, like here, look at this number, it reflects 75% damage as true damage to the attacker. Like you only receive 25% of the damage from your enemy. That is how OP is that. Like we've already seen like Sakura recently. Like Sakura is the latest edition that can reduce the damage taken from your enemy, like to your allies. Like this one passive damage takes minus 25% damage, but for Alexa, your ally takes 75% less damage taken. It literally just makes your allies immortal. You know, so she is like, look at that, she is like very much in the highest priority list in my esper list, you know, because of that. Like this thing until now there is no equal for this ability. Like I will never say the same. Like when if I made this video like last year about Liao, because he was the only one who can remove an esper from existence in a 5v5 situation, making the enemy only have 4 esper is the most OP thing to do. And now we have Colin, and everybody know how strong this guy is, especially in PvP. So yeah, Alexa, still waiting for the legendary version of reflecting damage back to the attacker. Now, we're gonna start looking at all of her skills first. So the first skill attacks one enemy, damage 120% attack, normal attack damage, 70% chance of inflicting miss rate up for 2 turns. This is a rare debuff. Like if you have known until now, if you watch every single one of my esper guide, then miss rate up is one of the rarest and the best kind of debuff that can prevent the enemy from dealing a lot of damage to you, because not only it reduces the enemy's chance of putting debuff to you, it also make the enemy's critical damage useless. So certain esper have like a description in their skill set that says that this skill cannot miss. So therefore negating the effect of misread up. But still, this is something that is really really good. Although the percentage chance is 5% lower than expected, like the nice number is gonna be 75% and above. But yeah, this is just like a bonus. This is a bonus coming from Alexa on top of all of her really really good skills here. So the second ability redistributes HP across all allies, dispels one debuff from all allies. If at least one debuff is dispelled, heals all allies, healing 10% of target's maximum HP, and when healing a target with Kiss of the Nightingale, amount healed will be 20% of the target's maximum HP. So it is pretty straightforward, but the things that I want to tell you is that this is the only ability that can heal you. Not literally, but the only thing that can heal you when you already fight in PvP for a very long time and you receive 0% healing taken. No, like 100% healing taken reduction after the battle progressed for so long. This is together with Sally's ability is the only one that can help you survive. But for Sally's case, she is the legendary version of the redistributing HP, because if you have Sally at Resonance 2, this thing will still heal you even after 0% healing taken in PvP. So I don't know if that is a bug or if they have fixed it by now or not, but the last time I checked, probably a couple of months ago, not really reliable, but you can try it if you have Sally at Resonance 2, because this thing will still heal you even after you take no more healing in PvP. So Sally is the only one that will keep you alive up until full health at 0 healing in PvP, while Alexa cannot heal, but she can redistribute HP across all allies. So if the enemy try to aim one of your allies, your Esper, especially if the Esper is the one that gets the Kiss of the Nightingale buff, then you can redistribute that damage across all the other allies that didn't receive the damage. So by that logic, that means that the enemy, if they cannot one-shot their target Esper, then they will need to literally kill all 5 of your Esper at the same time. Because of this, because you split all the damage across all of your allies, preventing one of your allies to die prematurely because of this skill. So this is one of the again, like the second type of strongest mitigation in the game after the reflect damage, by sharing the damage together with your allies. And the cooldown is only 3 turns. This is why Alexa in PvP is actually a very very strong Esper, but the thing is that she is kind of like very very underrated and overshadowed a lot because of how hard it is to use her, especially in this current PvP meta where everybody that uses AI to let the AI control their Esper. Like nobody manually control their PvP anymore. Hence, the Kiss of the Nightingale buff is very very hard to aim, because when all of your allies are at full health, she gonna target the captain using the Kiss of the Nightingale. And usually the captain is not the one that you want to protect, because the captain is usually the one with a really really good captain ability, but your DPS most likely not gonna have the best captain ability. So your DPS is gonna be kind of like low in priority for the Kiss of the Nightingale if Alexa manages to move first when everybody is still alive. And if the enemy manages to move first, there's a high chance that your DPS gonna die first before you are able to give Kiss of the Nightingale buff. It is a really really good situation if the enemy manages to move first, deal AoE damage to you and none of your Esper die, and then Alexa managed to make her turn, make a move, and so most likely your DPS is gonna be at the lowest health compared to your other allied Esper. So Kiss of the Nightingale gonna be cast into your DPS, preventing them from dying even further, because it will literally reduce 75% of his or her damage taken, you know. And then if Alexa manages to move again on the next turn, and your DPS still haven't died or haven't got his or her Kiss of the Nightingale buff dispelled, because this is a silver buff. So if the enemy use dispel, then this is gonna be useless, like it's gonna be dispelled. But if your DPS still alive, then Alexa gonna share the damage from your DPS to all of your tankier Esper, and then you can make your counter attack then. So the way this second skill works, again, after you redistribute HP and then dispels one debuff from all allies, and then if at least one debuff is dispelled, like from all 5 of your Espers, so you only need one Esper who has a debuff, and then all of your allies gonna be healed by 10% of their maximum HP after you redistribute their HP. And for the Esper that have the Kiss of the Nightingale buff, instead of 10%, they're gonna get healed by 20% of their maximum HP. So now on the third skill, this is the best one. Grants Kiss of the Nightingale to one ally for 3 turns. Remember that 3 turns is such a long turn. Like, this is a turn-based game, so one extra turn is really game changing. Especially if you have watched my shorts videos, I'm probably gonna link it in the comment down below. You're gonna see how I managed to give a 3 buff of Kiss of the Nightingale at the same time to 3 of my Espers. One of the trick is to make use of Chloe's extended buff, like this one. Where is it? This one, yeah. Chloe's buffs plus 1 turn, So by casting this second ability for Chloe, she is going to be able to extend this Kiss of the Nightingale buff by another 1 turn, and giving a chance for Alexa to cast the Kiss of the Nightingale to another Esper. And there is no mention on this skill that you cannot refresh the cooldown of this skill. Hence, if you pair her up with someone like Ahmed or Sachiko or Yuday, you will be able to give this buff to another one of your Esper. And then also Feng Nuxi also can contribute to that. Basically, every single kind of cooldown reduction will be able to make you give Kiss of the Nightingale to more Esper at the same time. Just imagine, like 3 of your Esper having Kiss of the Nightingale buff, and then the enemy deal AoE damage to you. They gonna get reflected by 75% times 3 damage back to them from their AoE damage. Just imagine that. So currently we have the latest Esper here is the Fatima. Yeah, Fatima is well known for her insane third skill spamming AoE ability damage, and it has a high damage here also. And also because of her stats here, permanent stat increase, she is going to be able to deal even more damage as the battle progress further. And so if you manage to return that back to her, it's gonna be very beautiful, So again, 75% times 3 is around 225%. Yeah, 2 times more. She will receive damage back 2 times more than she deal to a single Esper using her AoE ability. So yeah, it is just beautiful looking at that kind of interaction. So do try to watch the short video in the comment below. I'm gonna try to find it later in one of my Dislyte videos. And When this ally takes a hit, they will reflect 75% damage back to the attacker. Dispels one debuff from this ally at the beginning of their turn. Now, if you have Alexa at Resonance 6, this is insanely strong. Because Kiss of the Nightingale now grants the carrier immunity to debuffs other than incapacitated. And because of the effect of this thing, dispels one debuff from this ally at the beginning of their turn, this debuff will definitely gonna be the incapacitated debuff. So that means that literally your Esper cannot be affected by any debuff, because incapacitating debuff are going to replace one another. So there is no way you're gonna have more than one incapacitating debuff at the same time. So if you are immune to any debuffs other than incapacitated, you will definitely only have one debuff, which is the incapacitating debuff, whether it's stun, whether it's petrify, whether it's freeze, and at the start of your turn, dispels that incapacitating debuff. So the only downside from this is compared to, like, all debuffs immunity, like the one that Momo has, or who else? Sakura. No, not Sakura can prevent one, and then who else? Fatima can also be immune to all kinds of debuff. This one, the only downside to this compared to those immunity to all debuffs is that you cannot counterattack or trigger Avatara while you are incapacitated before your turn, because it will only remove the incapacitating debuff on your turn. So for someone like Emma or Anna who counters attack a lot, giving them Kiss of the Nightingale will not really gonna bring them back to their prime, because they won't be able to counterattack before their turn. But still, for any other DPS Esper, especially the one I use the most, Intisar, like I love pairing Alexa with Intisar the most, because Intisar gonna be insanely strong, because she cannot be killed, and then she cannot be stunned, she cannot be debuffed, and she doesn't need to attack outside of her turn. This is like one of my favorite before Chu Yao came out, because Chu Yao now can give the same effect using his passive, the Spirit Aegis. Like it's a kind of different kind of mitigation. Like instead of reflecting damage back, he prevent your Esper from getting critical damage, which is a huge chunk of damage out of the enemy, because every single DPS Esper gonna rely on their critical damage most of the time, like 99% of Esper gonna rely on their critical damage. So preventing them from dealing critical damage to you gives you a huge amount of survivability, and it also dispels every single debuff that comes to the Esper that has that Spirit Aegis, so you cannot be debuffed now. So that's why like she got kind of like a little bit replaced by Chu Yao for me, like hence why the moment Chu Yao came out, like this is definitely a must-have Esper, like especially for me, like I rarely pull legendary Esper. Like right now, Fatima, I'm gonna skip her. I do rather have like 5 Esper at Resonance 6 rather than like 20 Esper at Resonance 2, because Resonance 6 Espers, if you choose them wisely and correctly, are going to be insanely strong. So hence why, the only thing that is not replaced from Alexa is the ability to reflect damage back to the attacker, which is insanely strong. Like I killed a ton of Hyde and then Jiang Juli a lot because of this skill. I haven't tried this ever since Ana came out, but I bet if there's Ana out there, like this gonna kill Ana too. And then Alexa also have a captain ability which increases your allies HP by 24%. It is not much, but if you don't have any other captain in your lineup, then this is something that can increase your survivability, because Alexa doesn't require any stats. She doesn't require any stats. The healing comes from the target's maximum HP, the redistributing HP also doesn't care about Alexa stats. The case of the Nightingale doesn't care about Alexa stats. The damage is not a DPS. So the only thing that you need from Alexa is just speed and HP and defense for her to survive. So yeah, captain ability. If you have nothing else, nothing better to use, then just use her. So for the level, if you don't use her in PvP or if you don't use her in RTA, warm-up match, like I used her a lot of times in warm-up match because a lot of times people underestimating Alexa, if they don't ban your Alexa, they gonna have a really, really bad time. Because now, the moment you give the buff of Kiss of the Nightingale, the enemy will never, ever, ever hit that Esper. Because they know they're gonna die if they hit that Esper, And especially if you go for like AI will not avoid the Kiss of the Nightingale. If you give Kiss of the Nightingale to a low health Esper, the enemy, if they are AI, they still gonna attack that Esper, which gonna kill them. So level 50 is enough for PvE, level 60 if you do want to use her for PvP. And then for Resonance, we've already known the Resonance 6 is very, very game changing, like the power spike coming from this is huge. Now the second Resonance when HP is below 40%, healing plus 12%, which is good. This is kind of like, back to back with the Divinate. Like for the Divinate is the opposite. When the bearer's HP is above 70%, Fantasia's final healing plus 15%. Fantasia is the second ability, which is her heal, like the third ability is not her heal. So yeah, this gonna increase the healing when low health. That one, the Divinate, gonna increase the healing when at high health. So overall, she's gonna have all of her heal increased. If there's an ability on cooldown speed plus 18, this is good because you do want her to rotate very, very fast. Because of this thing, look, the buff duration is 3 turns and the cooldown is 4 turns. So if your Alexa is fast and your DPS is a little bit slower, like half as fast as Alexa, then they gonna have a permanent Kiss of the Nightingale buff. Because your Alexa will definitely use up 4 turns before your DPS Esper used up their third turns. So Alexa will be able to give Kiss of the Nightingale to your DPS while your DPS still have 1 turn left for their Kiss of the Nightingale buff. So you have a permanent Kiss of the Nightingale buff for your DPS, like one single DPS, preventing them from dying. And for a paper, kind of like a glass cannon DPS, that is a given, like that is a miracle. Now, going to the Ascension is also really good. HP increase, defense increase, and then this one is the one that, give the dispel the debuff and also healing. The debuff is also really good, you can use this for APEP, because this one at least dispels one debuff from all of your allies, and heal them. And for any other kind of situation where the enemy doesn't have that much debuff, this can, prevent your allies from dying faster, Now, going into the fourth Ascension here, it increased her maximum HP. The fifth Ascension increased her HP even further. She doesn't need any stats, just survivability. And you have 2 Ascensions that gives HP. What the hell is this? Yeah, she's really, really, quite tanky if you build her right. Now, the last one gives her resist, which is good. The only thing that can, prevent your allies, your DPS from how to say, the only thing that can let your enemy to kill your DPS is if they kill your Alexa first. But if your Alexa is the one being targeted by the enemy, it is easy, very easy. She is already tanky, she has a ton of HP, and she can share the damage. If she doesn't die, if the enemy doesn't deal that much damage, she can just share her HP. But if you have a cooldown reduction in your team, you can just give Kiss of the Nightingale to your DPS, and then to your Alexa.
Popularity
How
is cracked
is the enemy going to kill you then? You know, like that is insanely stupidly strong. That is Alexa, you know. So that's why, like, the only thing after that, the only thing that can prevent your Alexa from doing anything to your DPS, helping your DPS, is to stun her,
I've
like
never
permanently
gotten
stun
for
the
flowers
Alexa.
or pretty
But if
things.
you have high resist and also you have these spells on debuff here, you have a cleanse, and then the Kiss of the Nightingale also prevent any kind of debuff and incapacitating debuff to Alexa, then there is no way that Alexa can be stopped, you know. So yeah, Ascension is already really strong, like very good. Now the rival rune, again, she doesn't need any stats except for fast rotation. So wind set here is the best for her, and then the growth just increase her survivability even further, and pretty much any kind of Mui like survivability Mui are welcome for Alexa, but in the rival room they give her this. And because of the change of the new knockout, if you have 10 Espers with rival runes at level 15, you have all of your other Esper basically increase their rival rune to level 12. So now you can use her in the knockout, in the new club PvP, the triple threat. You can try to use your Alexa now. This is a very good update, you know. Like in the knockout, if you put your team on this patch here, remember a team cannot be used in matching mode once dispatched. So in the match here, there's a high chance that you're gonna use Esper that you've never used before, you know. So if you do want to try your Alexa, give her a spin, then you can try her now. But I will remind you that the Kiss of the Nightingale is going to be randomly applied to your Esper because it is AI controlled. So it's not going to be as good as if you use her in RTA or warm up match. You know, the best place to use her is there, the RTA and warm up match. Like, you know, if not because of the latest update where you use rival rune in RTA and warm up match, I always give my Alexa the fastest speed rally, so that the moment the battle starts, Alexa will be the first one to move, and she gonna give Kiss of the Nightingale to my glass cannon DPS, and that's it. The enemy, most of the time, like 99% of the time, will pause. And they will say to themselves, oh fuck, what did I do? Not banning Alexa. You know, so that's always the thing that happen. I always laugh if they take a long pause after my Alexa give Nightingale buff to my DPS. You know, so yeah, that's Alexa for you. You know, like I don't think I need to try her out in VR Battleground, you know, like it's pretty much explainable. Like, you know, nothing hidden comes from her ability, you know. So if you do want to use her in Falsetto Fantasy 2, like I did use her in Dark Star Lord. It is very funny when if you manage to have your Kiss of the Nightingale buff while the Dark Star Lord used his Meteor. Like you can see, he received the damage back from his Meteor. It does kill you, like you know, 75% damage reduction. Still not gonna save you from Meteor, but it is funny to see he also received damage from his own Meteor. You know. So in Poblator it's not gonna be the best because Poblator doesn't really do much. The trick to fighting Poblator is to keep him on sleep, you know. And because he is asleep, there is no way to there is no use for reflecting damage back to him because he's not gonna attack you. And the moment he do attack you, it's gonna be the end of your team anyway. You know, he already managed to have so many stacks of damage that he gonna one-shot all of your Esper. And then on Counter Sonica, it's gonna be like I've never tried it, you know, like, but it's a good idea to if you do want to reflect damage back to Counter Sonica. But because Counter Sonica requires you to have a lot of multi-hitter, like bringing Alexa here is kind of like a waste of slot. You do want to try to use as many multi-hitter as possible to counter Sonica instead of trying to reflect damage back to her, you know, like it doesn't, it's much better to just you yourself deal damage to her. Yeah. And in other any other content like Desolate Lands is not gonna be that useful, you know, if you don't have any other cleanser Esper in Shadow Gale. I think it is Shadow Gale, the one that you need to cleanse. No, this is the buffer. Wait, this is the buffer. Yeah, the Shadow Gale is the cleanse. I think this is the cleanse. Yeah, so if you don't have any other cleanser, then yeah, you can try to use Alexa, but she's not gonna give you much score there. So yeah, best one in PvP there. So yeah, there's no more string I can give you for Alexa. That is everything, you know. So yeah, a very good Esper, very underrated, but especially really good because he is the only one that can reflect damage back to the attacker. So we will wait the moment the Dislyte developer run out of ideas and use the reflect damage in a new legendary Esper later. By that time, it's gonna be the most OP legendary Esper ever. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you learned something from this video, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.